We're holding on Daf Lamed Gimel, I think, right? Lamed Gimel Lamed Aleph, that's 33.
Yeah. Five lines up, Amrlay. Isa ben Yehuda.
Isa ben Yehuda, okay. Thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. This is of learning, we should have the Beis Hamikdash. Yeah. Okay, so Isi ben Yehuda, Isi ben Yehuda had his own opinion over here that when it comes to standing for an old person, even if the person is not a sage, you still stand. The Tanna Kama held only if the older person is a sage. He says that Seva is called Seva, any old person. Rabbi Yechanan says halacha Isi ben Yehuda. Rabbi Yechanan says that's the halacha. You have to stand for everyone. Rabbi Yechanan would even stand for older non-Jewish men. Amar, he said, Kama harftiki, Odan alayu dahani, how much experiences and passed by these people, which means miracles and things that they've experienced. Well, Rava mekam laikai, Rava would not stand for them. However, hider avadu, but he would do with that little hider, which means that he would do a little, a little lift of his body to show that he was trying to stand. Abayi of yad l'sabi. Abayi would give out his hand to support older people. They could hold his hand while they're maybe coming downstairs or something. Rava Meshadish Luche. Rava wouldn't do that himself, but he would send messengers to go make sure that they have support. Rav Nachman Meshad Guzay. Rav Nachman had these men that were like the court bailiff or something. What do they call them there?
Oh,
to get up for him. I'm not sure if that's what it means. I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Okay. Oh, okay. I don't have Rabbeinu Hananel on my page. Okay. Hill is telling me that Rabbeinu Hananel says that Abaye would give his hand so that people could get up for him. Okay. Amar, so why would Rav Nachman not do this himself, and why would he send the bailiff? That's the way they translated there, the bailiff. Kusoi. So Amar, he said, he loved Torah, if not for the Torah. Kama Nachman Barabik B'Shuka. How many Nachman, the son of Abba? I thought Nachman's name was Nachman Bar Yaakov. Right. How many Nachman Barabbas there are in the marketplace? So, which means that really what they're standing up for is not for him. They're standing up for the Torah, and for the Torah, he doesn't feel that he can use the Torah to support the other people. He doesn't feel that he could forgo on the honor of the Torah. Amrav Evo, Amrav Yanai. Evo says, name of Rabbi Yanai, Talmud Chacham Rashaylam Pnei Rabbi. Talmud Chacham, that I think it means while he's learning, he should not be standing up for his teacher, so that the teacher should not get more respect than for Hashem. He only stands up for Hashem twice. What about Mincha? Does they comment over there? What about Mincha?
As you mentioned that a student is not obligated to stand more than twice a day for his teacher, although he may do so.
Because no, so we say because we compare it to that's the halacha part. Okay.
No, but on the notes.
In the notes, So we compare it to standing up for Hashem, and there's only Shema's twice a day, but that you don't stand for. Well, you're probably right. It has to do with the evening We're done together, Mincha Ma'ariv, I guess. So Meisvei, where's the question? How do we know that a sage is not supposed to bother the people, make them all stand for him, and that he walks in at different times of the day and they have to stand up and sit down and stand up? How do you know he's not Talmud Laimer? That can be a resa. That he's supposed to also fear Hashem, and you should fear Hashem. It says, and if they only have to stand up in the morning and the evening, why should he not bother them? They have to stand up. So in the morning you go in, the rest of the day you don't have to stand up anyway. So what's the problem? In the morning they're supposed to stand up, and in the evening they're supposed to stand up. Gemara says, Elalav the Kula Yaima. It must mean that they are supposed to stand up the whole day, and that's what it means, Leina Triach, that you don't keep coming in to bother them to stand up. The Gemara says, Lai, the Olam, Shachus Farvis, really we're talking about in the morning and the evening, Bilvad, Bafilohachi, and nevertheless, Kamad Efshalei, Leina Triach, as much as possible, even in the morning and the evening, you shouldn't bother them to stand up. Yeah, you should avoid, go through a side door. Amar Rabbi Lazar says, "Kol Talmid Chacham she'eino omed pnei Rabbi." If Rosh, any Talmid Chacham that doesn't stand up for the teacher is called wicked. Ina marach yamim, won't have long life. Talmud Mishtakach, and he'll also forget his studying. Shnamar, b'toiv lo yiyeh l'rasha. The good will not be for the wicked. Now, good over here is referring to the Torah. The Torah won't be for the wicked. They're calling the fellow that doesn't stand up. They're calling him wicked. He won't have a long days. He'll just be like a shadow, which like disappears. And that does not fear Hashem. Now, when it says fear, you say we don't know what the fear means, but when it says you should fear Hashem in the pasuk that talks about standing up for a parent, not for a parent, for an old man, right? It says Hari Mayra Zukima means to stand up. How do you know it means to stand up? Now the Gemara challenges this. Maybe it's referring to the fear of Hashem, not to give him a loan with interest. Because in the pasuk that talks about not doing a loan with interest, it also says you should fear Hashem. And also in the pasuk that talks about having proper weights and measures, it also says you should fear Hashem. So maybe, how do you know it's talking about the fear of Hashem that talks about standing up for an old person? Maybe it's talking about the fear of Hashem, that not to give a loan with interest and not to have improper weights. So the Gemara says, Rabbi Lazar, Pnei Pnei Gamar, Rabbi Lazar that said this halacha, that anyone that doesn't stand up for his teacher is called a Rasha, and then etc., etc. He wasn't learning from the Myra. It says Myra here and it says Myra there, because then we would have the question, maybe it's referring to the Myra, to the fear that says by the other thing. He was learning from the fact that it says Pnei. It says Asher Nene Yarei Milifnei Alikim. And it also says Pnei Sevatakam. Pnei, it says Pnei, Pnei in both verses. It's a Gzeir Shava. Iboilu. The Gemara has a question. We learned out that you have that pasuk in Kehelis is referring to standing up. Iboilu. The Gemara has a question. Should the son, that's the teacher, stand up for his father? Because the son is teaching the father, is a teacher of the father. When his father walks in, should he stand up for him? Or not, because he's the teacher. Teacher doesn't stand for the student. Well, Tashma. Shmuel Rabbi Yehuda. Shmuel tells Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is a student of Shmuel. It's a shinina, which means sharp one. Bhakti. Kumikami avuch. Stand up in front of your father. Now, apparently, Rabbi Yehuda was a teacher of his father, Rabbi Yecheskel. Rabbi Yehuda Bar Yecheskel was his name. Now, he was the teacher. So he's telling him to stand up because the father, you have to stand for your father. Gemara says it's not a proof that a teacher son stands for the father's student. It's not a proof. Shani Rabbi Yecheskel the Baal Maisim have it. Afilu Mashmol Nami Kar Mikamet. Rabbi Yecheskel was a big tzaddik. He had it was probably Baal Maisim probably means he did a lot of tzedakah. That even Shmuel himself would stand for him. That's a different story. Elamai Karmelei. So then why did Shmuel have to tell him? Hachi Karmelei. This is what he was saying. Zimnin dasa me'achirai. Sometimes he's going to come after Achayrai, after me, I guess. And Kumat Mikame, you should still stand up for him. And don't worry about my honor. In other words, it would be disrespectful maybe to stand up in front of Shmuel for someone else that walks in. He says, don't worry about it. You can still stand up for your father. Now we have another question. That was the son standing for the father. Can the father stand for the son? The son is the teacher. Is it acceptable for a father to stand for a son, or that's the teacher? So Tashima says, come and listen. Rabbi Shua ben Levi says, I'm not, it's not appropriate for me to stand for my son, because he's the teacher. Rabbi Shua ben Levi was the teacher. But however, his son married the daughter of the house of the Nasi, which because of that, he should stand for his son. Otherwise not. Taima, what's the reason? Dana Rabbi, because I'm the teacher. Rabbi, but let's say the son would have been the teacher, and let's say Rabbi Shua ben Levi had a son. Let's call him Levi. And let's say and the son was the teacher. Then I should stand for him, which means that a father would stand for the son that's the teacher. Why does Rabbi Shua ben Levi not stand for him? Because he's not the teacher. Rabbi Shua ben Levi is the teacher. So Hachi Kamar means to say is any kedai lam pnei b'ni afilu hu rabbi. Even if my son's a teacher, I shouldn't stand for him. Because I'm the father. Now, the question was it because Rabbi Shua ben Levi was saying, I'm not going to stand for my son because I have the Torah, and my son doesn't? Not for the fact that he was from the Nasi's household. Or was he saying, I'm not going to stand for my son, even if my son has the Torah because I'm the father? The Gemara sort of concludes that maybe it means that it's because he's the father, and it doesn't matter if his son has the Torah. The father doesn't stand for the son, even though the son could be the teacher. Yeah. I'm not sure where this is, but I think one of the sages had this problem. I forget who it was. Rabbeinu Gershon, Maram Rottenberg. One of the sages had this problem. He said that when he became like the Rav or something, he never saw his father after that.
Whoa.
They wouldn't have known like how to, should he stand or not, because the Gemara doesn't answer that question. It's a deraisa. He stood up, no? Iboilo, you have a question. Rochov k'mahalach tamiyei eloi. Let's say the teacher's coming in on a horse. He's riding in a car. Now, the teacher is stationary, but the horse is moving. So do you say that it's considered standing? Or do you say that it's considered this horse is standing? Or do you say that he's sitting? So you only have to stand for the teacher that's standing, that's walking, not for the teacher that's sitting. So what do you say over here when he's riding? Amar Abaya says Tashma. We have a proof from Tuma and Tara. But here it's talking about a Mitzaira that's sitting under a tree. Someone walks by under that tree. So the person that walks by the tree is Tamei. However, if the Mitzaira is not sitting, if the Mitzaira is standing, so then the person that walks by, or even if he's sitting, he's going to be tar. He doesn't become impure. The Mitzaira needs to be sitting. We learn that from the pasuk. Then this Bryce is going to mention, what about a rock that has tsaras on it, a stone that had from the house? Okay, so now the stone obviously doesn't walk on its own. Someone had to be walking it. That stone is going to be compared to the teacher that's riding, because it's the stone as if it's riding. Someone has to move it. Okay, I'm sorry. It goes like this. Tashma. Tami Yeshiv Tachsil V'Tarayim. This tummy person that's sitting under the tree, and a pure person that's walking by. So tummy becomes tummy because the impure person spreads the impurity through the tree canopy. Tummy Tachasila, and let's say the impure person is standing, V'Tar Yeshiv, and the pure person is sitting. Tar. Then he's pure because the impure person was standing. However, if the tummy person sits down, atar tummy, then the pure person becomes tummy. And the same thing applies to the stone that has taras on it, that the stone has to be placed down in order for it to become, for the tumah to spread to other people. Amar Rav Nachman Bar Kayan, Rav Nachman Bar Kayan says, you see from this that the stone that was moving while the person's holding it, it's considered riding. You don't look at the stone that was stationary in the person's lap, in the person's arms or something. You look at the one that's underneath it, and the one that was walking, that was holding the stone, is walking. So therefore, the same thing would apply with teachers on a horse. There you would have to stand up, even though the teacher's sitting, but you have to follow the.
Could you just remind me, because we learned it, or this Rachel Kimalach dummy, I don't know if this is the place or somewhere else. The question of like davening on an airplane or a train, when you want to do Shemon Esrei, you do it, but the question was, I thought, is it probably a Rachel Kimalach because you are still traveling. Can you say Shemon Esrei when you're traveling? You recall that answer?
Yeah, I think they actually say that you're even allowed to say Shemon Esrei while you're traveling. If you're afraid of missing the caravan or something, you won't be able to concentrate. You say it on the horse. There's a discussion about that.
So that's how we got it in the plane.
Yeah. So if someone's yarmulke falls off while he's driving, is he considered like you walked 4 cubits? Okay. Ibaylahu, they have a question. Do you have to stand in front of a Sefer Torah? Well, Reb Chilki, Reb Simon, Reb Elazar Amri, all of these sages say, Kal v'chaymer. So of course, the people that are studying the Torah have to stand. Excuse me, in front of the Sefer Torah itself. For sure, you should have to. Rabbi Loi, Rabbi Yaakov Bar Zavdi, Rabbi Yasvi. These two sages, Rabbi Loi, Rabbi Yaakov Bar Zavdi, they're sitting. Chalaf Asal Shimon Bar Abba. Shimon Bar Abba walks by. They stood up. Amalahu, he tells them, first of all, don't stand for me. Your guys are sages. Doesn't say guys. It says you fellas, you rabbis are sages, and I'm just a friend. That means I'm not even like a teacher level. And does the Torah stand in front of those that study it? In other words, you're in the middle of studying Torah now, and he's comparing it. Your Torah study now is comparable to the Torah, and I'm just someone that studied Torah. So he holds like Rabbi Elazar, Damar Rabbi Elazar, Ein Talmid Chacham Rashai Lam Bnei Rabbi B'Shah Sha'isik B'Torah. The Talmid Chacham is not allowed to stand for his teacher while he's in the middle of learning. That's why he says not to stand for him while he's learning. However, Layata Allah Abaya cursed anyone that follows that ruling, said that they should be standing, even though they're in the middle of learning. Okay, let's do one more piece. It says that they looked after Moshe until Moshe came to his tent. Well, what does it mean they looked after Moshe? There's two opinions here. Rab Ami Rab Yitzchak Nafcha. There's the opinion of Rab Ami and the opinion of Rab Yitzchak Nafcha. We don't know who says what, but Chanam Alagnai V'Chanam Alashvach. One says that they followed him and their eyes followed him was for negative, and one said that it was for positive. Mandam Alagnai K'de'isa. Like it says in other places. What does it say? The Rashi tells us that the Gemara doesn't want to say it, but in other places in the Medrash it says that they looked at Moshe, said, "Look at those fat thighs. Look at that. That's all he's eating our meat. Look at that his neck, the fat on his neck. All of that is all ours. It's because of anyway. That's one opinion that the Gemara didn't want to mention, and the other one is for praise. Mandam l'shvach. Amar Chizki, Amali Chanina, Breder Avavo, Amar Avo, Amar Avdimi, the Min Chaifa. It goes like this: that Chacham Oiver Oimid Mufanav Dalet Amos. If the sage is walking, so you stand when he comes into your 4 Amos. Kimachavar Dalet Amos Yoshev. Once he passes your 4 Amos, you can sit down. You just stand up as he passes by, and then you sit down. Av Bezdin Oiver, let's say the head of the court comes by, Oimid Mufanav Malayenav, and then you have to stand up even once you see him. However, Kivan Shavar Dalet Amos, once he passes by your chair 4 cubits, then Yoshev, you can sit back down. Nasi Oiver, if a Nasi is passing by, Oimid Mufanav Malayenav, you stand up right when you see him. You're not even when he's further away from you. And you don't sit until he sits, not just when he passes. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, that they looked after Moshe until he went to his tent, until he sat. You have to wait until he sent. That's what we learned from that. Okay. Shana Tova, everyone.
Monday, regular
We're on
time,
Monday. I guess it'll be regular time. Monday's a fast day, right? We'll
right?
learn regular time. I didn't look at the clock at all. See when time the fast starts and all that.
Taurus and Durham after davening.
Okay.
No, it's
No.
Thank you.
Okay.
No,
Have a good day,
Shana Tova.
everyone. Shana Tova.
no, it's not.